I'm Cassidy Davis.
And I'm Nikki Abbott.
And this is UPTV News.
Some of the highlights of today's show will be Typhoon Haiyan, a Boston mobber facing a life sentence, and a shooting at a local Pittsburgh high school.
On Thursday, November 14th, Boston mobber James Whitey Bulger was sentenced to life in prison after facing the families of the victims during a heartfelt trial the day prior. He was a part of the Winter Hill Gang, where he allegedly was responsible for killing 11 people and indirectly involved in 8 other murders. After a long 2-month trial, he was convicted of racketeering, extortion, and money laundering. According to CNN, federal prosecutors referred to him as one of the most violent and despicable criminals. During his trial on Wednesday, many of the families of the victims Bulger allegedly killed came to speak. District Judge Dennis Casper decided that all the families from the 19 murders Bulger was allegedly involved in would come deliver victim impact statements. Bulger declined to speak at the families or make eye contact with them as they spoke of their lost loved ones. Many even addressed Bulger directly, some demanding he look them in the eye, which Bulger did not. The families of the victims called Bulger a rat, a coward, and one family member even referred to him as Satan. Steve Davis, whose sister Deborah was allegedly strangled by Bulger, addressed the court during the trial Wednesday to finally unleash his pent-up thoughts towards Bulger. Davis, with tears in his eyes, said, "This man has built up so much hate in my heart, I'd like to strangle him myself." Another family member, Teresa Bond, whose father went missing after an argument with Bulger in 1983, said that a lethal injection would be too easy of a punishment. Before stepping down from the stand, Bond asked Bulger one more question. She said, "Mr. Bulger, do you have remorse for taking my father's life?" After Bulger refused to look up or answer the question, Bond responded saying, "I think you do. I forgive you." Bulger declined to comment during the entire trial. In 1999, Bulger, a former FBI informant, was added to the FBI's top 10 most wanted list after hiding from the law for 16 years. Now, as an 84-year-old man, he will be paying for the crimes he committed with a life sentence in prison.
On November 8th, the city of Tacloban, capital of the Leyte province in the Philippines, was struck by a 235-mile-per-hour typhoon. According to a report from the Wall Street Journal, Typhoon Haiyan, also known as Typhoon Yolanda, is the 7th strongest storm to hit the Philippines. Over 4,000 lives have been lost. This storm has left many Filipinos without the basic necessities such as food, water, and shelter. Javelin Taniega tells CNN of her story of losing her husband and 6 children in the storm. She now has 1 child and discovered 3 bodies of her other children. Taniega and others from the city of Tacloban have been devastated by this storm. Some have referred to this aftermath of Haiyan as a situation worse than hell. One of the many concerns right now is the lack of food for those who have survived the storm. Many countries and organizations are extending a helping hand. The United States is sending troops to the Philippines as well as food and supplies to the survivors. In addition, Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott has plans to contribute $30 million. Japan, the UK, Indonesia, United Arab Emirates have also given large amounts to this cause. China offered a mere $100,000 to the Philippines, which some have found worthy of criticism. Many companies and organizations have also been raising money for the cause. These organizations include the American Red Cross, America Cares, Verizon, Apple, the Philippines Red Cross, UNICEF, and much more. Any bit of help can help those who are suffering right now in the Philippines. Many celebrities such as Katy Perry, David Beckham, and many more have been supporting companies like UNICEF to help support the survivors of Typhoon Haiyan. Now as time continues, we see the world showing an urgency to help the Philippines.
Baghdad had another day of bombings on Sunday, November 17th, where at least 14 people died and more than 36 were injured, according to the police. The week prior was also filled with numerous attacks, most of them aimed towards the Shiite, which represent the biggest Muslim denomination next to the Sunnis. Tension between these two groups has been at an all-time high this last few months. It has gone as extreme as attacking the Shiite during Ashura, which is a major holy day in the lives of the Shiite. The attacks towards the Shiite have consisted of car bombs and roadside bombs, as well as strikes. A few days prior to the bombings on Sunday was another attack against the Shiites, where 21 people died, and the mayor of Faliha, Adan Hussein, was killed as well. Hussein was allegedly supervising over the cleaning of one of the neighborhoods when 2 of his guards were attacked and left wounded, while he was assassinated. The Shiites have gained freedom and confidence to express their religious beliefs and traditions after the U.S. invasion in 2003, and especially when Saddam Hussein's regime was shut down. With this new freedom and confidence has also come more attacks geared towards the Shiites, and thousands have died as a result. The Al-Qaeda's local branch is rumored to have been the cause of these attacks. The attacks on the city of Fallujah marked the 134th death in the country this month, according to Associated Press. The attacks have only continued since then, and the death toll has continued to rise.
A gunshot was fired in the newborn progressive care unit of Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. The shot was fired by Milwaukee police at 22-year-old Ashanti Hendricks. The Milwaukee police found out that Hendricks was a wanted felon who was inside of the hospital. According to the Milwaukee Journal-Centennial, Hendricks was found holding his baby in the hospital when the police found him. The police attempted to arrest Hendricks, but he put the baby down and ran down the hallway of that unit. As a chase ensued, the police ended up shooting Hendricks in the wrist. Hendricks has felony convictions ranging from marijuana to fleeing from policemen. On him that day, the police found a 9mm handgun and 26.2 grams of marijuana. Milwaukee Police Sheriff Clark tells USA Today their opinion of Hendricks' motive. Clark states that this man's intention was not to shoot anyone today. Hendricks' father, Sidney Dickerson, tells Milwaukee Journal-Centennial that the child that Hendrick was holding was his son's only child. Hendricks' father adds that his son has problems but is still a darn good kid. Dickerson also wonders why the police would serve a warrant in a children's hospital. Many of the parents at the hospital that day were afraid for the protection of their children as well as themselves. Emergency room social worker Carolee Maylene had words to share with USA Today. Maylene finds herself upset with the world. She adds by saying, "You can't go to a spa, you can't go to a mall, you can't go to a Batman movie, and now it's Children's Hospital." After a brief lockdown, the hospital is now running as usual.
On Friday, November 15th, a judge concluded that Pennsylvania's ban on gay marriage could be up for a federal court challenge. The trial could begin as early as next year. U.S. District Judge John E. Jones III dismissed the challenge by trying to get rid of various motions that are in support of same-sex marriage. Although the state may appeal in that order, same-sex marriage supporters do not have faith that the judge's decision will be changed. This entails a discovery time period, followed by the opportunity of further motions and then a potential trial. Legal director of the American Civil Liberties Union of Pennsylvania, Witold Walczak, is helping to represent those for same-sex marriage in this case. He said, "We will be pushing for a trial probably in March or April because there are thousands of loving, committed couples in Pennsylvania that are being harmed every day because of this discriminatory law." Although many advocates for same-sex marriage have hoped for a change, the press secretary for the governor's office of a general counsel, Joshua Mouse, said the judge's order is absolutely not on the merits. With that being said, Mouse added that a fair opportunity will be given to present a defense of the law.
On November 13th, a shooting occurred near Brashear High School. It was a normal day at Brashear High School, but when school let out at 3 p.m., lives changed for 3 male high school students on their walk home. As these students walked through Crane and Low Hill Avenue, the shootings occurred. According to reports from KDKA, one student was shot in the leg and the foot, one student was shot in the neck and the shoulder, and another had a bullet graze his head. None of the injuries seemed to be life-threatening. A fourth victim was with the three, but was not shot. According to the family members of the victim, all the 3 boys were good friends. According to the Associated Press, 16-year-old A.J. Willett was taken into custody and facing charges for 4 counts of attempted homicide and reckless endangerment. Willett's motive seemed to be connected to a drug-related robbery in which he was attacked in mid-October. Lieutenant Cross thinks that the victims may have been sought after because of the robbery that had occurred earlier that month. Police cannot place charges against the shooting victims because Willett is not cooperating with the authorities. With regard to the misconception that this situation is a mass shooting, Lieutenant Kevin Cross states, "We have nothing to associate this shooting with any other kind of mass school shooting or anything like that." Cross says it just happened to be near the school. The school was on modified lockdown for a couple of days and now is functioning as usual.
In honor of Veterans Day, the Penguins welcomed the military personnel by allowing 11 lucky veterans to come to a practice and have a chance to meet the hockey team. They posed with the team, holding up personalized Penguins jerseys made especially for them as they smiled for the camera. The veterans watched the team practice before the photo op, and some even got a chance to attend the game that night as special guests of the team and its corporate partners. During practice, the Penguins were adorned in special camouflage jerseys, each with a different military unit patch sewed to the front of it. The team wore the same jerseys during the warm-up before the game that night. The autographed jerseys will then be auctioned online, and all the proceeds will go to organizations for the veterans. It was a special day for many of the veterans. Jeff Thomas, a Marine veteran, said his jaw dropped and that he's in shock that he got to meet all the Penguins players. Thomas said how awesome of an experience it was. Another Marine Corps vet and wounded warrior, Aaron Cohen, said it was a dream come true. The team was touched by the day's festivities as well. One of the players, Tanner Glass, said that they owe the veterans a huge debt for risking their lives for them. Another player, Brandon Sutter, said that compared to his job on the ice, what the veterans do is much more important. But Penguin Sidney Crosby summed it up best by saying that the tour and meet and greet is the least they can do for their veterans.
Andy Warhol, a native Pittsburgher, is known for his work in pop art. Some of his paintings feature Marilyn Monroe, Michael Jackson, Elvis, and even a painting of Campbell's soup. Much of his art can be seen in the Andy Warhol Museum, here in Pittsburgh. At this museum, you can find 900 paintings, about 100 sculptures, nearly 2,000 works on paper, more than 1,000 published in unique prints, and 4,000 photographs. On November 13th, Andy Warhol's 1963 painting, Silver Car Crash, Double Disaster, got sold for $104.5 million at Sotheby's Contemporary Art Auction. The New York Times reports that this painting is the highest-selling pop art piece ever paid at an auction. 5 bidders were fighting for this painting. Bidding started as high as $80 million. The name of the winner has yet to be released. The total amount made at this auction was $380.6 million. Peter M. Brandt tells the New York Times the Silver Car Crash Double Disaster is a great painting, and continues by saying, "It was a great price, and who knows what people will spend for a great picture."
And now for some Panther updates. Thanksgiving break starts Wednesday, November 27th.
Finals week begins December 9th, and fall term ends December 14th.
Pitt football will be playing against University of Miami on the Friday after Thanksgiving at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Pitt basketball plays Duquesne University at the Consol Energy Center November 30th at 1 p.m.
Pitt Program Council is hosting a weekend trip to New York at 7 a.m. Saturday, January 18th, 2014. For a group of 4, ticket costs are $239, and for 2 people, it's $139. You can buy your tickets at the Pitt Program Council office located in room M30 of the Union. No credit or debit cards are accepted, as well as no Panther funds will be accepted as well.
Thank you all for tuning in to UPTV News, where you can find weekly updates on global, national, and local news.
Stay connected with our Facebook page titled UPTV News and Twitter account at UPTV News 21.
If you want to share a story on UPTV News or advertise a club event, email uptvnews@gmail.com.
We will be back in January. Good luck on finals. I'm Cassidy Davis.
And I'm Nikki Abbin.
This is UPTV News.